Hello and welcome to the demo of the Spring Boot project. In this video, I will be explaining what this use case is about and will break down the code and the project structure, and at the end, we will test it all together. So, as you can see in this picture right there, our case scenario is a software engineering company information system. This company has three departments: the development department, the HR department, and the sales department. Each department will have its own microservice with hard-coded data. While we could have used a database to store the data, we chose to do it in a hard-coded way just for the sake of illustration. The development unit has a task to collect the data from the other two departments. This will be done via a REST call from the development microservice to the other two microservices that will send their data to the development unit, so that all the data of the company will be available to this unit right here. Finally, using the discovery server Eureka, the development unit will be able to fetch the data from the other microservices without having to know their URLs. So, let's see the code now. First of all, we are in the development service project. Now, every service has a controller class. Basically, when you create your Spring Boot project, as I mentioned in the report, in the practical part in the report, it comes with this class, the service application class. So we created a development controller, and for the HR service we created an HR controller, and the same thing is used for the sales service, where there is a sales controller. So in each controller we have a list of objects that belongs to this microservice. So in this case it is a list of developers. As you can see here, each developer has his ID, his name, and the language he uses. Now, I will tackle those two methods later on. I will explain the rest for now and will return to them later. So, this method, public list developer get developers, returns this private list of developers with this annotation request mapping. When we type the service URL on our browser and type /developers, it will call this method and return the list of developers, and we will be able to see it on our browser. The second method returns a single developer object. It returns it by ID, so we can see here that we have filtered our search depending on the ID of the developer in such a way that if we put in our browser the URL /developers / the ID that we want, it will return this single element from this list depending on the ID that we entered. Now, if we go to the models package, we can see here that this is our class that constructs the objects with the constructor and the getters and the setters and the attributes of the objects of this service. The same thing goes to the HR service and to the sales service. Here the only difference is that we have a list of employees. In the development service we had a list of developers, but here we have a list of employees, and of course a method to return this employees list, and a method to return a single employee depending on the ID that we input. And the same thing is available in the sales controller class, but here we have a list of products. So this is the list of products that this company sells. Of course, the method to return this list of products, and a method to return a single product depending on the ID. So first of all, I will test each service alone. We will run it as a Spring Boot app. We will wait till it runs. The development service sits on port 8081, and the HR service sits on port 8082, and the sales service sits on port 8083. So right now we have launched the development service. Now it's putting an error right there because there is a dependency on the discovery server, and since I didn't launch the discovery server yet, it will put an error, but it's fine because it will run if I just put localhost 8081 development and developers. So as we can see right there, it returned the list of developers because we have put the request mapping this annotation developers. So when we type /developers, it will call this method and return the list of developers. Same way, but now I want to see a single developer, so I will type an ID. So let's put D1. It will return a single developer based on the ID. And here is another developer, for instance. So these methods work. Now, to test the HR service, we will run it also as a Spring Boot app. Okay, and I will run also the sales service. Okay, so if we go to localhost 8082/HR/employees, it will return the list of employees that we have. And if we go to localhost 8083 sales/products, it will return the list of products that this company has for sale. Now we can see that these three services work fine alone, but they can't interchange the information right now. And if we come here to those two methods are in the development controller and the development service. The get list of employees is used to get the list of employees from the HR service. So it will make a REST call using the REST template method, and it will call the HR service and will get the list of employees from the HR service. And the same thing can be said for get list of products. So it will make a REST call to the sales service and will return the list of products. So but this cannot be done yet because our discovery server is still not running. So if I type, even if we have put the request mapping employees list and products list, if we type in our localhost 8081 /development/employees list, it will return an error because the server is not up and the microservices can't see each other, so they are running in a standalone mode, but the development service cannot see the HR service and cannot see the sales service. So once we run the discovery server, also as a Spring Boot app, now the discovery server, also called Eureka server, this is a server that sits between the client and the other services. This way the client doesn't need to know about the other services names or URLs. The server will handle the client request, so when the client needs a resource, the discovery server will fetch it for him. Alright, so we can see that the discovery server is up. So if to just test it, we go to local host 8761, and we can see that the server is up and it is detected the 3 services. Now we can go ahead and I will restart the 3 services. Just for safety reasons, to be more sure that it will work. And now when I will call from the development service, I will in the localhost 8081, if I put /employees list, it will return the list of employees, and if I put products list, it will return the list of products. Now, to be able to fetch those data, we have copy and pasted, as I mentioned in the report, the 2 classes in the HR service and in the sales service. We have employee.java that creates an employee, and employees list that creates a list of employees, but employees list is an object. So it's an object that is a list of employees. Same thing is for sales service. So because we have many objects, we needed to create a method that creates a single product and a method that creates a list of products. So we have copy and pasted product and product list and employee and employees list to the models package and the development service to be able to know which type of object we are calling. Alright, so the 3 services are up again. Let's try them. So now if I type employees list, it will return the list of employees, and we can see here that we are in localhost 8081 while the employees list is in localhost 8082. We have been able to get it from localhost 8081 by making the REST call, and of course by the help of the server Eureka, we were able to fetch the employees list from the development service. And now to try it again with the products list, we can see as well that the products list is also available to the development service. So this is the Spring Boot magic. It makes services talk with each other, of course by the help of a server, and it's very easy to write the code. Since it's a framework, it makes it really easy to build the code and to make the microservices interchange data with each other. Thank you.